go back and view it if you have questions. And I also understand it is a Friday, and this is a day that some folks flex and may not be in the office. So I know that this may not have been the ideal time frame for folks to come in and get the webinar training, but unfortunately looking forward to the COGCC hearing schedule and our rulemaking schedule, we wanted to make sure that we got this training in before we actually debuted the e-filing system. So that's why we were just kind of running out of days and times, and so that's why we had to keep with today for our training. So again, my name is Mimi Larson. I'm the Hearings and Regulatory Affairs Manager for the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission. I'm excited to be showing to you today our new e-filing system. Just a couple pieces of information before we get started. The e-filing system has been in the works for quite some time now. Back in January of 2019, we put together a team of folks at the COGCC who have been spearheading this project. And two members in particular who have done a great deal of work on this and have gotten it to where it is today are Jane Stanzik, our permitting manager, and John Peskin, who is one of our hearing officers. So thank you to them and to all the COGCC staff who have played a role in getting this to where it is today. We're finalizing testing of the system actually today, and we'll be working with the developers to clean up language, how things are named here and there, some of the layout, but the functions I'm going to be showing to you today will remain. There won't be any change to those functions, and the layouts and the processes that you're going to follow will essentially be unchanged as well when this system goes live. And as I mentioned, we're going to post this Zoom recording on our website. We'll also have, when we debut the system, when it goes live, user guides available. So don't worry if this doesn't quite all make sense today. If you have questions, we will have user guides out there and resources available to you to contact for further instruction and assistance using the system. And the one last item I wanted to note is when this system goes live, we will be using this for all new hearing applications. So everything that you would file with the hearings unit, you will now transition to this system rather than using our email system for transmission and submission of an application and any supporting documents. We are going to work to get existing dockets into the system. We're not able to migrate existing documents, or I should say existing dockets, into this system automatically. It will be a manual process that staff will work on. So bear with us. It will take some time, but we're going to try to get that done as soon as possible because it benefits all of us for us to have all the dockets that are pending in the system and accessible to you and to the public. So with that, I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we'll walk through several key processes or functions that this system provides. So give me a moment while I find the right screen. Okay, so hopefully, and Hannah, let me know if this isn't the case, but hopefully you're seeing the COGCC website page, and there's a sign-in box and a support box. So this will be the page that you will go to, and there will be links on our website to file any application and any supporting documentation in an existing docket, and to also register for an account. So in order to use our system to make filings, to file protests, to get detailed in-depth information about a docket, you're going to need to create an account. There is what we call a public access viewer, and we're working on names. That's a little clunky, but that's what the developers call it, the public access viewer. That is separate from this. That will be more of a bare bones system where you can just go in and do a search for individual documents that have been filed in a docket. This, however, is a more robust system if you want to go in and be able to look at all of the documents that have been filed in a docket. There's no charge to create an account with this system, so it is user-friendly, as you'll see, and pretty powerful. So we'll start by how we go ahead and create an actual account. Currently, you would go to the link that says request access to site, and you would select that. There we go. And you would create an account. So in order to create an account, the items that you must provide are starred. So you have to have your email address, you have to have your password, we need your name. You would go through, and I'll go ahead and create a new account so we can see what this looks like. Let's see. Do that. And I may have already created this account, so if it yells at us, we'll know. You'll put in a proposed password. Again, you'll have to, let's do a new password here. Again, your first and last name. You'll need to put in the mailing address that you would like. It will ask you if you agree to the terms and conditions. And again, we're changing this verbiage. So currently it says true or false. We'll be saying yes or no. So I would select true or yes, saying that I agree to the terms and conditions. And you'll see that the system has the blue bubbles with a question mark. If you hover over those question marks, it will spell out the additional information about what that field is. So I agree to terms and conditions. It's saying that you are agreeing to the terms and conditions for using this application. You can put in additional information here. If you are wanting to put in, for instance, if you're representing an operator, you could put in that operator's mailing address and information. Since many of the filers in the system will be lawyers, we're asking for you to reply as to whether or not you're a lawyer, so we have that information. So you would put either yes or no. Again, currently says true or false. And if you know your attorney registration number, you would add that. And then finally, it asks that you confirm who you are. So you would select that as well. And then, of course, our favorite, the CAPTCHA information, which I'm always able to get wrong on the first try. So we'll see if this works. And we would submit. And I bet, yeah, I got something wrong. So we'll give it one more try. If I get it wrong again, we're not going to belabor this because watching me type is not the most exciting thing. Oh. See, it is a smart system, and it knows if you have failed to input key information. So put back my password. There we go. So once you have registered for an account, this message will pop up and it says the message was sent successfully. That means the form was received, and you would go into your email account and you would have in your email account, once it's been approved, a notice from us saying that you have been assigned an account. So once you have that email from us saying that you've received or have been approved for an account, you would then come back to this main page and you would sign in. So you would use your email address and your password to sign in. So this is the main page that everyone will see once they sign in. There are 4 boxes, 4 areas that you will see on the display. The first is entitled Forms, and this will be where you would go to file a hearing application form. We have over on the right-hand side the ability to conduct a custom query where you could search for documents related to a docket a variety of ways. You can search for documents based upon a date range. So you could put in there, you know, anything that was filed between September 15th and September 22nd, and the system would retrieve those documents. If you know a docket number, you can put that in there, application type, etc. So there will be various fields that you're able to search for and identify and have the system identify documents that relate to that specific search. You'll also see here on the left-hand side where it says all hearing applications. This provides you with every single docket that is in the system. So this would list all pending dockets. It would also contain any docket that has been closed that we have a final order on. And as you'll see here, you're able, if you like, you can open this in a new window so it can display more easily, and you can look at all the dockets that are in there. Currently, we have quite a few test dockets that we've been inputting. And then finally, down at the very bottom, you can just search for an actual docket number. And we'll use each of these functions throughout this webinar. But this last one here, search for find hearing application by docket number, this will take you to a new page and just actually show you every single docket or that specific docket and every document that is associated with that docket. So let's start by actually filing a hearing application form. So again, you've logged in. You want to come in and file, let's say, a spacing application. So you would select the DNR COG hearing application, and a new window will come up. And as you see here, the application form is now online. We'll walk through this, but you'll see at the end you have the ability to attach documents and upload documents in support of your application. So there are going to be a few data fields that are required. One of the data fields that's required when you're filing an application is what type of application are you filing. So again, here we have identified all the various applications that you may file with the hearings unit. We have other. We prefer that folks don't select other unless, of course, there's the items that we have identified just don't apply. But here we're going to file a spacing application, so we would select spacing. If you have an operator name, you would select that, put that in. If you know your cause number, you can go ahead and you can select the cause number. We'll just do a random one. If you know your operator ID, again, you would enter it there. Any formations that this application applies to, you would insert there. Size of the unit you can provide. Coming down here with application lands, the system has populated all the various counties, and you would go through, select what county your application pertains to. If there are municipalities that are part of the application lands, you can put your township range section all in there. This allows you to, if you hit add, if you click that, you can add additional lands, because we recognize that many applications don't just have one township range, it's multiple. So you can continue to add as many rows as you need to get that information in there. Most applications are filed on behalf of an applicant by a lawyer, and so we ask that the lawyer filing the application input their information here.
Amy?
Yes, Jane.
You know what, if you're filling out an application form, I don't see a form. I still see the landing page when external users log in. Is it on a different screen?
It must be. So I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to share again. So thank you very much for letting me know that.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate you jumping in and letting me know.
I thought, what are you talking about?
I'm just having a lovely conversation with myself. All right, Jane, can you see now the application?
Yes. Yeah.
This is better. So sorry, everyone, I'll backtrack. So this is the application form that you will see. And as I was saying, when you come into the application form, it'll ask you to identify what type of application you're filing. So here we're filing spacing application. It will ask you to put in your operator name or applicant name. You can put in your cause number, all the information that will come in on your typical application you would then enter here. As I was saying, for application lands, you have the ability to select which county those lands are located, and then you would input the rest of the information. You're able to add multiple rows to put in the land descriptions, because again, we recognize that most applications apply to more than one township range. And then if we look here, attorney law firm information, this is where lawyers filing on behalf of their clients would input their information. So we ask that the attorney put in their name, the name of their firm, phone number, etc. If we continue down the form, there's another box that allows you to put in additional information that may be applicable to your application. You'll see that these boxes are not required to be filled out because, for instance, not every application is going to have a well associated with it or an API number that you're going to be identifying in the application. However, if in fact you do have wells and API numbers or facility ID numbers that are a part of your application, then you would go ahead and fill that information out there. And then when you come down here, you'll see the very last box is to attach supporting documentation. So this is a required field. If you're filing an application, you are required to actually attach your application. You can also attach, at the same time you're attaching your application, other information that may be pertinent in support of that application. Any exhibits that you have, maps, plats, whatever it may be, depending upon the nature of the application that you're filing, you have the ability to add those documents as well. So for our test case, we will attach a application. I'm not sure if this is showing, but this just pops up a box that would take you to whatever your default is on your screen. For me, it's my desktop, where you can select your file that you wish to attach. And you'll see that I just have attached a test testimony doc. So I have that. I go back up here and I see that I need to certify that application. And I would click the drop down and say that attest to that is in fact the case. And then I'm going to hit submit. And just fair warning, this is your application has been received. So let me go into, and I stopped sharing, and I'm going to go into my email and find for you an example of what that looks like. So give me a moment here. Okay, so you should see on my screen now an email that was generated from, it comes from onbaseonline.com. And this is an email that I received a little while ago confirming that the system has received a document that was filed by me in an application. So you would receive a similar document like this saying that what you have submitted has been received. And then eventually what will happen is our hearing staff will go through that application once it's been submitted, ensure that all the information that is necessary to move that application forward has been submitted by the applicant. And we would then tell the system to assign it a docket number, and you would be notified that the application has received a docket number. So that there will be a bit of a delay after you submit your application until you do receive your docket number. But it's so staff can just make sure that the application is in order and that we can begin processing it. So let me go back to sharing my screen. We'll go back to the main splash page or hearings page. So again, you should be seeing right now the COGCC hearings page. And again, we're back at where you would file a hearing application form and the ability to see all the various dockets that are in the system and to conduct a search. So what I'd like to do now is to show how you can go back in and actually file a document into an existing application. So if you know your docket number, you could come over here under the box that says Find Hearing Application by Docket Number, and you would put in your docket number. You would select Search. There we are. And we can see that here it shows up that we have a spacing application. So let's say you need to come in and you need to file testimony or something in that application. So I'm going to stop sharing because I bet I have that same issue as before. And I'll make sure to share the screen so you can actually see it. Okay, so when I selected that docket number, the information that was retrieved on the prior page, it then opened this page. So this is the docket, the 201-000-047. And that process we just went through to actually file an application, this is what it looks like once it's been filed. We see this on our end and you'll see it and the public will see it on their end. So you can see it tells you what type of application it is, who the hearing officer is, it provides a docket number. It also importantly gives you the docket status. In this docket, there is an issue that the applicant needs to resolve. So there are other statuses that will apply to a docket throughout its life cycle. You may log in and you can see that a docket needs to have a permitting review completed. You may come in and you may see that a recommended order is pending for commission approval. A hearing is pending. So the docket status is a good way for you to be able to go in, check on what is outstanding in a docket. You'll also see here that the information provided includes when the noticed hearing date is. This one is noticed for Monday the 5th. When the deadline to petition this application was, and it's letting us know hasn't been petitioned, and it hasn't. So no one has come in and filed a petition to protest this. You'll also note that this should be an incomplete application. So permitting, I'm sure will have failed this at some point because we don't have any formations in there. It's spacing. We don't know what the size of the unit is, etc. But in the real world, we would have all that information for a spacing application. And again, here's showing, the applicant, attorney, law firm information is in there. And when you scroll down further, you'll see approval statuses. So at this point, it's been approved by the hearing officer, and meaning that it has gone through. We'll pretend that engineering has looked at this, permitting's looked at it, GIS, all these various internal controls have looked at it. And at that point, it would then be approved by the hearing officer and reviewed by a hearing officer. So both those boxes are checked. And down here, you can see attached documents, what information has been uploaded in this docket to date. So to date, the only thing that's been uploaded is the application. So what I like to do here is just to show some of the functionalities that exist with this system. So assuming that this docket or this application has recently been filed, the applicant needs to come back in and file their testimony in support of this document. So over on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see there's a button that allows you to upload supporting document. So you can click that, and let me show you what that looks like. So you should be seeing on my screen a new box that at the top of the right-hand page, it says user interaction. This is where you would file supporting documentation. So if you look over here on the left-hand side, it has the document types that you can file. So we start with an administrative order by consent. It's alphabetical, and it goes all the way down to a withdrawal of petition. So here, let's say we want to file testimony in support of the application. So we would select testimony. We would then go back up here to file path, choose your file. Again, it just populates, defaults for me to my desktop, allows me to select a document that I want to upload. And you'll see here it's added that. I chose testimony to upload. That's in there. It gives the date that I'm uploading it. It is able to detect what type of file it is. And just so you can see, there are quite a few different types of files that one can upload. I don't have an idea as to what 90% of these file types are, but if it's needed, I'm sure it's probably listed there for you. You'll see over here the DNR COG file by role. The system is going to ask you to tell it who you are and what you're doing. So here you're the applicant, and you would go ahead and select that. And if there's additional information that you want to insert in here, you certainly can. I will let you know, the way I'm logging in, I have the right to file as anyone. When you come into the system will know who you are. So for instance, it will know that you're an applicant in this docket, and it will allow you to file whatever it is you need to file. We'll look in just a little bit here in another docket to see that, for instance, if you happen to be someone who wants to protest an application, you're not going to be able to go into an existing application and start, for instance, changing the formations that may have been applied for. You won't be able to go into, when we get back to that screen, and actually start changing the information that the applicant uploaded. So don't worry, not everyone's going to have the rights to go in and do whatever they want with applications. So again, I've uploaded my document that I want to include here, have filed. I've told the system who I am. And again, if you want to fill out any of this information and data, you certainly can. And then you would go to the bottom of the screen. Let's see if I can actually get there. Okay, so at the bottom, there's a submit button. And I apologize, my screen is rather large, so it's not. Try this one last time. There we are. So I hit submit, and I'll take us back to that screen. So you should be seeing again back to our original docket here, the application with all the information. And if you recall, when we first looked at it, attached documents, we only had one document. We had the application. Now it tells us that there was testimony that was uploaded by the applicant. It tells us the day that it came in and the time. So that's another way for you to confirm that the information that you're uploading was received by the information. It will show in real time. You will also receive an email letting you know that this document has been uploaded in the system. If this was a docket that had been protested and that protestant's information was in our system, they too would receive a notice on email saying that something has been filed in this docket. Similarly, when staff is conducting a permit review, an OGLA review, if there's an order that has issued from a hearing officer, anytime anyone files something into a docket and you are a party to that docket, you're going to receive an email saying, this document has been filed, please select this link, and then you can go into the system and retrieve that document. So the process that we just went through for filing and uploading testimony, you can also follow for filing a petition on this application if you wanted to protest it, or if there was a member of the public who wanted to file public comment on the application, they would come over here and file public comment. So what I'm going to do now is I'll close out of this docket. And let me get back to our main screen here. Okay. So just to show a few more of the functionalities of the system, let's say you are aware of a docket and you just wanted to pull let's say 511 testimony from that docket, or you just really just wanted to see all the matters, all the documents that have been filed in that docket. So you could come over here on the right-hand side under a custom query, and you would put in the docket number if you know it. And again, you can search. There are other means by which you can search. If you just want to pull up all current enforcement matters, you could select that, enforcement. If you wanted to search only by the applicant name, you would just type in the applicant name in here. Same with hearing date, all these discrete searches you can conduct. But for this one, we'll conduct a search just knowing what the docket number is. So I have my docket number in there, and then I'm going to go to search. And then what it does is the system returns the list of all the documents that have been uploaded in that docket. So you can see starting on September 30th, 2020, there is a permitting review. So I'm going to click that on, and I will share that screen here. And you select that document and then it returns it. So this is our permitting review. It was complete. And you're able to add a note if you like. You can print it, you can download it. So this is another way to access quickly documents that have been filed in a docket. Stop my sharing. So that is the basic functions of the new e-filing system. I know that this probably has resulted in quite a few questions for folks, so I wanted to make sure that we set aside time for that. You can certainly chat in questions, and I see that there are already some questions, and before I turn it over to that, I see if Jane has anything that she wants to add. You can also raise your hand and we'll call on you. You don't have the function to unmute yourself, but if you raise your hand, we can unmute you and get your question in that way. So first, let me turn it over to Jane and see if there's other information that we need to cover.
Well, hi, everybody. Happy Friday afternoon. I would just mention that a lot of you are familiar with the process that the permitting group has been using to review applications, spacing and pooling applications, and provide the results of our review through email. We will now be using, well, when the system goes live, we'll be using the system to do that. We'll modify our form that we've been using a little bit, and then we will be uploading a PDF of it into each docket, each application. And like Mimi said, when we do that, boom, you'll get an email from the system that says the permitting review document has been uploaded. And then you'll just go look at it. So we won't be doing emails back and forth. I'm pretty sure that the engineering group is going to use a similar process. They'll be reviewing the testimony that has to do, of course, with setbacks, well density, all of that for spacing applications. I'm not sure exactly how the OGLA group is going to do their reviews, but we will let you know when we get that figured out. Thanks. Thanks, Mimi. Good job.
Thank you, Jane. So there are a couple of questions on chat. The first one is, when does the system go live and is it mandatory to use? So right now we are completing testing, and there are a few little polishing exercises we need to go through to get it so it's ready to go. We anticipate that this will go live just before Thanksgiving, probably second week of November or so. We haven't come up with a firm date, but it's going to be sooner rather than later. And when it goes live, is it mandatory to use? Yes, I hesitated slightly because obviously if someone does not have access to the internet or is for whatever reason unable to access the system due to other challenges, we will make accommodations for that and work with that person to accept their application or their petition through another means. And you would contact the hearings staff to work through that. But generally, yes, this is mandatory. We are moving to the electronic filing system for a variety of reasons. Primary for me is transparency, allowing the public and all of our stakeholders and members of the regulated community to see and have ready access to all hearing applications is very important. And it also benefits the efficiencies that, or provides efficiencies to hearing staff working through these applications and other staff, other units in our agency, to have these documents readily accessible online and to be able to file and upload documents related to these dockets quickly via the system will be a benefit, not just to our agency staff, but certainly to all users and the public who want to be able to see this information quickly and easily. Another question we have is, when this filing system is used, do you use it to apply for a party for hearings, for instance, like in the rulemaking hearings? And will the system be used to file pre-hearing statements, etc.? So yes, we will use the system for future rulemakings. As many of you may know, we're in the midst of rulemaking right now. Those dockets are, and the information related to them, are all posted on our website and available through Google Drive. That's not going to change. We're not on the last day going to just suddenly migrate everything over into the system and make people try to figure it out and find it then. So no worries. Everything that is in the Google Drive will stay there. But looking to the future, this system would be used to accommodate all of our rulemaking filings. So what would happen is the application would come in, and it would come in from staff filing a rulemaking application. And then members of the public who wish to become a party would file a request to become a party through the system, pre-hearing statements, testimony, responses, exhibits, everything that you now currently file in the course of a rulemaking hearing would be filed through this system. There are a few chats alerting me to the fact that in the beginning I wasn't showing my screen. So again, apologies for that. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing for folks. And let's see. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead, feel free to chat them in or raise your hand. It looks like we have someone who's raised their hand, Sierra Romero. And so I believe I can unmute you. Let's see.
Hi, Mimi. My question is, you said that it will take some time for the initial application to be reviewed before a docket number is issued. Is there a time frame in how long this may take in the beginning, or is there a set time frame for when it starts and ongoing on how long we should expect a docket number to take?
Sure. And that's a good question. We have not yet put in place internally what that timeline looks like, other than to say at this point that it would be similar to the current timeline when applications come in. For those of you who have worked with her, Mark Umeki is the one who currently works with applicants to get their materials in the door, make sure that everything's uploaded, and then the docket number is assigned. And so, you know, because it's a new process and we're undoubtedly going to be working through a few kinks here and there once we get this up and running, I don't want to commit to a hard, you know, within 72 hours you'll have it, but we're going to work to get the docket numbers out to folks as expeditiously as possible. And once we have gone through that first initial month or so of, you know, working through this and getting applications in, then we'll be able to put in place a firm time frame as to how quickly we're going to get these processed and get docket numbers out.
Thank you.
Sure. Let's see. So while other folks are thinking of questions, another chat has come in asking, will we still get notice of a rulemaking via email, or will it all be in the system? So as you may be familiar, when we do notice a matter for rulemaking, there's an email list folks have signed up for to receive notices about rulemakings. And we also have another email list that is specific to hearing applications. So specifically for rulemakings, I anticipate we'll certainly still rely upon that email list to notify everyone on that list about rulemakings. Everything will be published on under news and notices on our main webpage as well, alerting folks to the fact that a rulemaking is anticipated, rulemaking notice has gone out, etc. And once that information is disseminated to the public, and you would, you know, find the information as to where to go to come in and become a party, that request for a party status would be filed through this e-filing system. And like with our other rulemakings, you will have stakeholder outreach before we proceed to actually file notice with the Secretary of State. So all those processes are going to remain in place. We now just have a new tool that is a smarter way of allowing participants to actually file their documents and to have access to all those rulemaking documents in docket. Let's see here. Another question is, will the public be signing up for public comment for meetings in this system? No. We'll still rely upon the Google form for members of the public who want to make oral comment at a hearing. There is the function to file a written public comment on a docket through this system. So when we were walking through and uploading testimony into that docket, on that same page, there was the ability to file a public comment. So if you wish to file a public comment that's written, specific to a docket, that is how you would do that. And as we work through this, we'll work on, you know, what the timeline is for that, when public comment, written public comment would be accepted, depending upon the type of application. And maybe something, for instance, like if it's a comprehensive area plan, currently known as a comprehensive development plan, we would potentially have specific timeline for that public comment to come in. But all of that would be spelled out in any orders or made clear to the public on our website for that specific application. Okay, so again, if you have more questions, feel free to chat them in or raise your hand. And while folks are thinking, I'll just remind everyone that, again, we're going to be producing a user guide and information that will be on our website that will help you, guide you through this process and answer a lot of the questions that, you know, have been brought up today. How exactly this is going to work with the rulemaking process? What about public comment? And recognizing that right now, of course, we're in the midst of our emission change rulemaking, where a lot of the processes are changing. The permitting process is changing as it relates to now. We have, it's proposed that the commission will be reviewing Form 2As for locations. And so that is an element that we currently do not have in our hearings process and in hearing applications for spacing units, et cetera. So there's a lot of new elements that are coming into the hearing process, and at the same time we're debuting this system. So there's a lot changing, a lot of new things that are underway. So the user guides will help to walk through that and give additional information and clarity to applicants and to members of the public who are going to be using this system. And as confident as I am that these user guides are going to be helpful, I know that they're not going to answer every question, and I know that they may at times result in more questions than answers. So this will be an iterative process. You know, certainly the first user guide that goes out will receive feedback and work through that feedback and improve it and get another revised draft out. So I just ask in advance for your patience as we're working on this and rolling it out, because I'm sure there will be a few bumps along the way. But I think in general, this is a really superior system to certainly what we have now, and should hopefully provide a great deal of benefit to the regulated community and to our stakeholders. So it looks like Ms. Romero has another question, which is great. Let's see, you should be unmuted, Ms. Romero.
Sorry, Dewey, sorry.
Okay. I'll go back to you. I just want to make sure that you have a question. If not, that's totally fine. You can you don't have to unmute yourself. Okay.
Sorry, it got a little hectic. My dog started barking. I was asked to ask if the new filing system is only going to hold documents that have been filed, or will it take over your actual COGCC website data portion of your current homepage?
So good question. So there are a couple layers to that. So first, some of you may be familiar with our COGIS system, and Jane she's a master of it, and she can talk about that. COGIS is going to remain as is. All the documents that live there will remain there. Nothing is going to come into the hearing system from COGIS. We also have the e-form system. Again, that's separate and distinct. It will remain as is, and operators will go in and file their forms just as they do now there. When it relates to, if the question relates to existing dockets and closed matters, existing orders that have been issued, you know, last month or 35 years ago, we're going to have a separate link that should be pretty clear to say, tell folks, you know, if it's, let's just pretend that we're going to go live with this on November 15th, the link will say for anything prior to November 15th, click here for a hearings document, and it will take you to our existing order page and all that information. So everything that is filed November 15th forward, and again, that's just a made up date. I'm not sure we're going to go live on November 15th. That will live in this new e-filing system. And our goal is to get all current pending dockets, so matters that have not been closed, that don't have a final order associated with them, into this new e-filing system. And we'll work with applicants and all protestants and any party associated with the docket on that. We'll try to make that as painless as possible. But we do have a plan in place to get those existing dockets into the system as well as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Sure. And we're going to try to get Ms. Jane unmuted here.
I've been trying. You know, I just wanted to say that, you know, after this system goes live and everyone's had an opportunity to, you know, start using it, we can do another 1 hour like this. And instead of Mimi explaining things and walking through, you folks can just ask all your questions. And it can be live, Mimi can pull the system up, and I mean, that would be an hour well spent with everybody in the community rather than an hour with one person here and with one person there. So this is not your only opportunity to have live one-on-one interaction with an expert, Miss Mimi, and the system. So
yeah, thank you, Jane. That's great. That's a really good idea.
It'll be great. Once, because people will have more questions after they try to log in and try to file an application and try to find an application and all that jazz. So
exactly.
And maybe after this goes live, the rulemaking, there'll be a break and people actually will have a minute. So
that's our hope.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Exactly. Well, let's see. I'm not seeing any new chats in here. I don't see anyone else with their hand raised. So again, this has been recorded. We'll get this posted on our website, and will probably be posted sometime on Tuesday. Just a reminder for folks, Monday is a state holiday, St. Francis Xavier Cabrini Day. Takes the place of Columbus Day. So our offices will be closed, but we will get this up as soon as possible, early next week. And also be on the lookout. We will post it on our website, and we'll send out an email to our various email lists when we have an actual day that this is going to go live. And again, we anticipate it's going to be before Thanksgiving, second week-ish or so of November. So it will be here before you know it. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time, and we look forward to debuting this system here as soon as possible. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks, Mimi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.